Welcome back to the Sunny Views. Today's podcast is What If You Were Prime Minister? And we're going to talk about the 5 main global issues in the world right now. I'm here today with
Ishan,
Piotr,
from year 13 and year 12. So first, if you guys didn't know, I'm going to tell you the 5 main issues, global issues that there is right now. So we are talking about climate change, geopolitical conflict, economics inequality and cost of living, migration, and human rights. So these are the main 5 topics we're going to talk about today. So let's get crack to the first one. So if you became prime minister today, what would be your first concrete action to fight climate change?
mainly what I would do is mainly like introduce more solid regulation that have consequences for breaking them. Right now, I'm not too sure, but the climate regulations seem to be quite weak because year after year we're saying let's reduce climate change, and it doesn't seem to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I would.
Well, I can give you an exact reason why it's not happening. We can block ourselves as much as possible in Europe. We can take away our diesel or gasoline cars. We can prevent people from heating their homes on their own stoves and such. But the main problem is other countries, especially countries with larger economies like China, like India, who are the biggest producers of carbon dioxide and other pollutants in the world. It's kind of difficult to, say as a European country, what can we do? Because we can do whatever we can do, but either way, we will not upset that margin that China, for example, is producing each year.
Okay, we can't. That is true. We can't. It's the developing nations that are producing the most carbon.
The carbon
pollution. But at least we could do something. Like, I know one country may not make a difference, but at least it's one more country on top of a couple of countries that are not doing anything. And if we can lead the way for other countries to change their regulations as well.
Mm-hmm. So how would you balance climate actions with economic growth and job? Because you're talking about China.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, especially when it comes to heavier industries. Like, it's not as difficult when we think of services or maybe newer industries such as electronics. Even though electronics are highly pollutant, they're not pollutant in our country. So, that's great, quote unquote. But with heavy industries such as machinery production, automotive, marine engineering, those are definitely big issues when it comes to decreasing pollution. But if we overall try to face it not like a solid, okay, we need to fix this industry right now, and we can break it down first into, okay, well, this industry primarily, for example, metallurgy. Okay, it requires high amounts of electricity. Okay, but how do we produce the electricity? Okay, we produce it using coal or gas or any number of ways we produce electricity that produce pollution. Okay, but can we, for example, offset that by using nuclear power? Can we maybe invest in greener technologies like biofuels or solar fields, or maybe even dams if our country has the geography to support dams? Mm-hmm. It's, in my opinion, it's way better to focus and break it down into multiple smaller things. Plus, that's easier to, sell to both voters and other members of the party as well as businesses. Mm-hmm. If we say, okay, well, we need to spend 6 billion this year to fix this problem. Well, people are going to say, why do we need 6 billion? Where's the money going to? But I say, okay, well, this year we're going to spend 2 million on fixing that, and next year it's going to be 1.5 million on that, but then next year it's going to be free, and it's going to just build up to that original 6 billion. Mm-hmm. This is going to be easier to stomach for a lot of people.
You mentioned nuclear energy. If you guys would be prime minister, president, whatever, what energy would you focus on? Renewable, non-renewable, or nuclear? What do you think is the best one?
I mean, nuclear is a simple option. Nuclear, some people are a bit too special in this regard, and they believe that nuclear power, because they saw Chernobyl, they saw Fukushima, they saw other ones, but they're not as popular, so nobody knows about them. They saw these incidents and nuclear power, no, we can't have that. I don't want my kids to be born with 3 pairs of legs and 8 pairs of eyes.
3 pairs of legs is crazy.
Yeah, and people don't really see that these are very much isolated cases.
Yeah.
And when a incident does happen, a quote unquote normal incident, if we can have a normal incident, it's usually contained. Plus, these are the bigger ones are very exceptional cases for which nobody could even predict. So, I mean, like, nuclear is the way to go. And we have also, Chernobyl was 1986, Fukushima was 2013.
Yeah.
50 years in the future. We have progressed past, maybe we can make it cheaper and we can cheapen out on this and this. And we need a containment vessel, we need a biological shield. That we have progressed over the point where it's just, it's going to happen eventually.
And now we can build better infrastructure.
Yeah, as well.
Exactly.
So what do you guys think about agreements that have been made in the past for climate change, such as the Paris Agreement?
I don't think the Paris Agreement did much.
I think it did.
It did a lot.
It did reduce a lot.
But you don't notice a lot of what it did because it mostly influences businesses.
Okay.
But would you create any new kind of agreement between countries?
Nowadays, if we put, right now, 2026, I do think it'll be very difficult to push that sort of agreement.
Yeah, it would.
Especially with, the geopolitical situation we've got right now. Maybe in Europe, but a lot of European countries nowadays aren't exactly happy to sign these sort of deals. And especially when it comes to, cutting down on, for example, energy production or cutting down on pollution. And pollution is also produced by defense. And, people may start linking that to, why would we sign this if it'll, in the long run, make our country worse than the countries that won't sign this? Because, for example, Russia probably wouldn't be included. Because other countries say, they're signing, we're not signing. So, why would we make our life more difficult, but the other side won't, and the other side may invade us or we may invade them? Why take such a risk?
And also, like, most European countries, the cost of living has gone up significantly. If a government says, let's go sign some climate agreements, people will be like, where do your priorities lie? Because we can't afford groceries, and you're here going to Davos or wherever, signing agreements.
Yeah, that's happening. That's happening in the UK right now. I mean, with Starmer's government.
Starmer's government's a waste.
It's the lowest public support in British history. But with his establishment of like the London Green Zone, the cameras and stuff, you can see videos on the internet of people coming up and literally cutting them down because they cannot afford food, they cannot afford heating, rent as well.
I think it's like £3,000 per month.
Yeah, people are not happy with the current government's reform when it comes to free speech. It compounds those issues, and that may be a final nail in a coffin of a failing government.
Yeah,
the thing is, Starmer's not popular with the left or with the right.
Yeah, nobody likes him.
Nobody likes him. Here's Stalin.
One question that I was meant to ask at first, but it's fine. I'll ask you guys now. If you could be the prime minister or the president of a country, which one would it be and why? Which country would you choose?
That's a very, very difficult question because I'd choose Switzerland because my country's already good, so I just need to sit there and have a beautiful smile for the cameras. But it is a very difficult question. I mean, like Spain, sure, because I live here, but also maybe it'll be difficult because I'm not Spanish, and that may be quite difficult to resonate with voters. But Poland, probably not considering where we're going because that's a bad idea.
What about America?
There is no prime minister.
No, but like prime minister,
vice president,
or president, or vice president.
I'd go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like right now it would be suicide, but like
it's interesting.
Give it a few years. Give the electorate time to both grow up and like the people who are not yet able to vote to grow up. Yeah. No, we can work with that. We can definitely work with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would go for India. Like, there's so much potential.
That is true as well.
In the country, it just needs good leadership.
Isn't it the second largest economy in the world?
I think it's fourth or fourth.
Okay. So moving on to the second major global issue right now, geopolitical conflict. So if your country had to intervene military to defend human rights abroad, would you do it? Would you send
only if the electorate approves of that.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
If the people want it.
Yeah.
Because if I, for example, do the US thing where, for example, we've got Sunni Vyuanya in the Middle East and they have a civil war and we send troops, but that's not exactly popular. And hell, my government now has 20% approval and people aren't exactly happy with me sending people abroad because they think, okay, we've got bigger problems at home. We need to resolve this first. And also, why would we send people there? Why would I send my son or nowadays daughter as well to war and possibly killed? You know, wait, there's these human rights violations coming about. So it's a very tricky thing, definitely.
For me,
yeah.
it mainly is if the risk is worth the reward. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
if I'm invading, if I had to intervene in a country, and if I'm getting something out of that, for example, let's take a random country, I don't know, Sunnyviewstan in Africa. There's a lot of gold, there's a lot of minerals, and me intervening means the guy who I'm supporting gives me some favors. I'm not gonna be against it.
But then that's a bit unfair.
It's
Because
not.
you're-
No,
Why is it
fair.
unfair?
Because
It's
you're
a quid pro quo.
yeah,
The
true,
other side
but
is
like,
probably supported by someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
but then, well, it's not fair for the other country
Why?
because
Why?
well, because
Okay,
you're
so it's not fair for the other country that's intervening politically and militarily in the other country.
There's probably a guy intervening on the other side as well.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, I'm saying if like a small country like in Africa is at war or having a civil war or something,
happens.
and that I know, but that American troops comes into the country, they help them, but then they're like, oh well, too bad, you have to give us something
Yeah,
back.
that's
in return.
payment.
unfortunately,
that's
that's the way it goes.
I mean,
Like,
would you rather
That's
be
true.
dead?
that's the unfortunate part.
Would
About it.
you
I
rather-
understand what you're saying, but that's the unfortunate
yeah.
thing. It has to be something for me.
So how do you deal with powerful allies who violate international law?
Depends how powerful they are.
And depends how good of a
Very,
relationship.
like,
Depends
very
what they
powerful.
can give me.
Yeah,
Depends what I am
Yeah.
giving to them, which I am relying on giving to them.
the thing, if for example, let's take the example of the U.S. invaded, in deposing the leader of Venezuela. If I'm the UK, for example, I would not be against it if I had something to gain from it. Like, if this new leader would, give me more oil, I'm for it. Just saying.
No.
I'll be for it.
Let's take the example of Europe. If we go back to like resources and energy that we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you guys know, but well, in a lot of oil or like energy we get in Europe is from Russia, and because of the Russian and Ukrainian conflict, well, most of countries in Europe stopped getting oil from Russia, but Germany still had oil like going on with Russia. Now they stopped, but before when the war first started, they still had like oil agreements going on. How would you deal with that?
But
Would you let it happen?
Germany is not the only one doing so.
Yeah,
Hungary is
not
doing
Germany.
so. Poland, Ukraine is still
Yeah.
running
Well,
from Russia.
how would you do? How would you deal with that?
You don't.
The thing is, right,
You just let them be.
if Germany was not my ally, I would condemn them. But like, if they're a close mate of
Yeah.
mine, it would be like, I understand why you have to do it. I don't encourage it, but I understand at least.
Yeah, you're playing on
Yeah,
the same team.
You're playing on
why
the same team.
would you make your own team be worse?
Yeah, why would I?
Because that oil and gas isn't just getting vented because Germany likes the smell. No, it's going to fuel the industries which produce your weapons, which produce your vehicles, which increase your GDP, which
probably
produces
goes to-
soft power and hard power.
Yeah.
Why would you make that?
So this is worth funding the war.
I mean, to be honest, you're not really funding the war that much.
And to be honest, there's like other countries buying Russian oil. Like India, we buy a lot of Russian oil.
Yeah, but you're not in the European.
Yeah, that's true, but, like,
the E EU.
It's like, if Germany doesn't do it, I don't know, China will do it. So you're not really doing much. And plus, China will probably buy more.
Yeah.
Talking about war, do you guys? What's your stance on nuclear weapons and defensive spending?
I understand why some countries might want to increase their defense spending. For example, Eastern Europe would, because they have Russia.
True.
But to take the example of the US is like an extreme example. I don't understand why they spend so much money. But yeah, that's my opinion.
They spend so much money to protect their assets.
Yeah, but look, the assets. But
They are a international force.
international force.
So they have to support their carrier groups, they have to support their submarines. It's all expensive.
Yeah.
But well, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. But I heard, don't they not get ripped off half the time?
Oh yeah, they absolutely.
Like, I heard Lockheed Martin charged
Yeah,
US
they
Army
absolutely are getting ripped off.
$1,000 for soap.
Yeah, that's the cost of high bureaucracy, and that's the cost of a system which only the government doesn't want to look at it. Just get that. You've got the money.
Yeah.
Just do it yourself. We
Do
don't
it.
care. That's the problem of contracting a lot of your stuff to
Yeah.
external companies. But the defense budget absolutely in today's world, they absolutely should be increased. Most countries should increase it, especially in Europe. I mean, you're not gonna really do a lot with your defense budget. You're not really gonna stand a chance alone. But let's be honest. But it is important to raise it as well. Nuclear weapons. What's the stance of? Of course, there are nuclear weapons. Of course, countries which have them are important that they have them. There should be more, but not more. There should be more different countries, but they shouldn't be like, in soft words. They're great at us not having World War III yet, and not having World War III, World War I type, where we just have millions of casualties because we just have line soldiers. But also nuclear weapons do pose some sort of threat when it comes to terrorist action. But they're also very hard to produce on a scale at which they're a problem. Like, you can probably make a nuclear device as a third world country, but that's going to take 150 years. And you're going to get bombed halfway through because they're going to find out.
Yeah, they're going to find out.
Talking about weapons, would you legalize weapons? Like guns and everything in your country?
Legalize. Define legalize. I mean,
like
or
the
is
country
it
or like individual?
Legalized means fully legal. You just go to a Walmart and buy it, no questions asked. Does it mean okay? Well, you need to sign some paperwork. Does it mean you need to do some tests?
Okay.
Is possession illegal?
It means. I mean by you can buy a weapon without saying why you want to buy it.
Oh, that should not be legal.
This vague description, absolutely should be necessary, but like a specific reason, no. Why? Why does the government need to?
If you're going to go into a gun store, I feel like there has to be laws saying why you want the gun.
Yeah, but
why would you want a gun?
The hunting and sports.
Hunting, sporting, collecting, just wanting to have a gun, self-defense.
Self-defense, that's so true.
There are so many reasons that is why.
Shooting.
Self-defense is the only reason I see.
Sport shooting's there. It's really popular as well.
Sport shooting.
Yeah, sport shooting.
No, obviously, but that's like it's obviously a thing. It's like supported by not supported. I don't know, but it's like
that's supported by like some of that's supporting, but not everything. Do you think like local competitions are like supported?
I'm saying, can anyone in the country just go buy a gun without saying like why?
That should not be allowed.
Why not without saying why, but after passing some tests? Because what you realize when you think about it. Reason why? Okay, Ishan says he wants to buy it for self-defense. I say I want to buy it because I like it, because I like firearms, I want to collect them. Ishan 2 says, okay, well, I want to buy it for sports shooting. Ishan 3 says whatever. And that sort of stuff builds up. And then how do you categorize what is the good reason and what is the bad reason? I mean, where do you draw the line?
The line is pretty obvious, right?
You can lie about what you're going to use.
Exactly. Why you can just say, okay, well, I want to buy it for self-defense, but actually want to go and shoot a rival gang or whatever.
But what benefits would it have to legalize it?
First of all, taxes. You can tax firearms. Guns. And you can tax so many things on firearms that I will not even mention because there's like multiple lists of A4 paper. Secondly, it's public defense. More people have a firearm, more people can defend. Okay.
I'm not going to say the self-defense part, but for sport shooting and hunting, I feel like those are legitimate activities that people do.
I agree.
So I don't think we just stop.
Self-defense isn't legitimate?
I mean, you need a gun for that.
Yeah.
And no, but also we don't have...
Okay, the other guy has a gun. You brought a knife to a gunfight.
That's like, what about the...
That's not a whataboutism.
Okay.
In Europe, okay, I'll agree on this. In Europe, yes, absolutely.
What is the chance of you going down the street and there's a bloke with a gun?
In the US?
In Europe. We're talking about Europe.
In Europe, relatively low, but I mean like overall. We include the US.
Oh wait, is it US overall or just Europe?
That is also in particular.
Well, Europe.
Because I mean also Poland has very loose gun regulation. I don't see a lot of gun crime in Poland.
Switzerland also has guns.
But
they have really strict regulations.
In Poland, no.
No, I was talking about Switzerland.
Switzerland has high because every man is conscripted into military.
Into the army.
So that is also a great example. Training means less, of that. Plus, you can kind of whittle down the people who commit those crimes. I mean, like, if you have someone who is in the military and shows, for example, signs of bad mental health, you can probably figure out, okay, that person needs help. Let's help that person, and not leave that be so they buy a firearm and commit a act which would be bad. Or, for example, okay, someone is from a bad home situation. Okay, we can help them get through that, and not they buy a gun and, for example, shoot their spouse.
How do you figure out before you buy a gun, you have to go to the therapist?
Yeah, no, that is pretty much everywhere where a firearm is able to be purchased. You need to have a psych eval, which just checks. Okay, if
but they should do like a yearly one. maybe.
But do you think like serial killers and people like that go to their like therapist?
I feel
They
like
don't?
a qualified therapist.
They don't even know they have like.
Yeah, but then you have to go to a psych eval to buy a gun.
Certificate.
Oh, okay, sorry. But also you were saying self-defense, but
Yeah.
everyone has different
Views on
levels
it,
of self-defense and level
Define.
like.
Levels of self-defense. Like
Okay, but
needs.
some people are gonna think that self-defense is like, well,
Kill
as
the
you were
person.
saying, like someone pulls out a gun and obviously you know you need to defend yourself. But some people are gonna say that, oh well, at 11 at night someone was in my garden, I shoot them
Yeah.
That
because I
is
was scared,
no.
and that's
regulated
not
by
right.
law.
That I think you could regulate that.
Yeah, that's
why we have the
murder.
law.
That's manslaughter. Okay, it depends where, because in the US, for example, I'm going to bring the US as example, because they have a similar regulation. I think a lot of places, like with rural areas,
No,
they've
I
got
think
castle
it's-
doctrine.
They
which
have,
is,
yeah, your house is like a castle and you can defend it.
yourself. But in Europe, no, like
Yeah.
you kill somebody, investigation, was there actual reasonable
Yeah.
cause? And then if there wasn't, you get charged for manslaughter or murder.
Yeah, exactly. You should have that.
Okay, let's go to the economic part. So should wealthy people be taxed more? If yes, why? If not, why?
Yes.
Not wealthy people, their businesses. Because what happens is pretty much every European country which increased the tax for rich people, the UK, Norway, they have seen one thing. They have businesses in those countries, right? They've got multiple businesses. They get shares from that business as payment.
Yeah,
they just
then
flee.
They use it as collateral.
Yeah, or they flee the country
Yeah, yes.
and stop paying taxes overall completely, because now they live in Morocco, but they still manage their businesses because you've got the internet, the globalization.
They should-
So not on the individual, on the business,
Or
and
maybe
especially
assets.
on payment through shares or assets of the company.
Asset tax.
Yeah.
Can you explain that, please?
So it's a tax on
Yeah.
your assets.
Yeah.
For example, if I owned 50 houses
Yeah.
and
And
they're worth, let's say, a grand.
Yeah, grand.
A grand. The government will like, okay, we're going to tax you 10%. Let's say, for example, it's like 10% on those combined assets. So I can't just like pick up my house and move to Monaco.
Yeah.
So I'll either pay the tax or sell the house, which
And
I
you
get
still
taxed
pay
on
the
that.
tax.
So there's no escaping. And then there's a really smart way of doing this. Maybe you can increase the tax on when you sell it. So it's just like a counter incentive of selling it.
Yeah, or maybe, for example, raise a tax on houses which are not occupied.
No, or maybe this is what I really advocate for: tax on institutional investors.
Yeah.
What's
Because
institutional investors?
it's like companies that invest. So like BlackRock will invest
Yeah.
in houses.
Okay.
They'll just buy up a lot
They're
of
not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
person; they're a company.
I mean, Trump was recently talking about, banning those sort of companies from
thing-
purchasing public
Those
housing
companies
projects.
have him in his pocket. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that is
like they're
absolutely true.
literally they have him by the leash. At this point, I don't.
I mean, that is also the reason why the real estate in the US is so high in
Yeah.
price, because these companies just buy it up, and
Yeah.
well,
It's a
you
supply and
can't buy
demand.
it for cheaper. So here you've got the price,
Yeah.
you have to buy it.
What about, but don't get me wrong, there's some people that are very wealthy, but that they don't always own a business. Maybe, no?
Then you have inheritance tax.
Inheritance tax, first of all, but
What's
what you mean,
inheritance
like
tax?
It's basically, for example, my parents. I don't know. Pure is my dad. Just an example, and he dies. He gives me a grand in assets. The government will come along and say, "We're gonna tax you 10% just for examples." And yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay.
when he passes.
Okay.
I mean, there's loopholes in that, but like,
yeah.
So what were you guys saying? They don't have a business?
Yeah, so do you mean like, okay, we've got John A and his wife owns the business, for example, and she takes the profits? Or like,
Yeah.
is it they're part of a board, or?
I feel like we can go so much in detail.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm saying like, I don't know, like if someone just got very lucky in life, he was like
won the lottery.
He was like the boss of like a company, but he didn't own the company.
I mean,
But
he wasn't the boss.
Well, no, but he was like
he's
very
a CEO,
high.
but he
yeah,
doesn't
CEO.
owns the company.
Exactly. Would you
Okay.
tax him like?
But you'll still be paid a wage, right? A salary.
Yes, or he'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
paid in shares. Of the
Shares.
business. That as
We can
well.
tax.
That should be taxed as well.
Okay.
But then you should have a cap on like how much asset. A cap, not a cap, but like a floor. So if you earn, let's
Over.
say over, X amount in assets, you should be taxed.
Yeah.
So
There's
you
no
would,
point taxing, Bob and Susan who owns like a house.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
so you would tax their like people's work instead of them as a person.
No, their wealth.
Their wealth.
What do you mean? Well?
John A owns one house and he doesn't pay a extra tax or a increased value of tax. John B has 5 houses and a boat, a yacht. He is over a point on a graph, and over that point you have to pay that extra tax on those properties.
Okay.
So he doesn't pay it on the single house, he pays it on the 4 houses and the boat.
Okay.
And it's also good because some people, what they do, on paper they're broke, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, they have so much assets.
Yeah.
That's what some other people do like that.
Okay. So how would you guys handle a housing shortage and inflation as the prime minister or the president?
I mean, one of them can be more easily answered than the other because inflation isn't exactly in our, as prime minister's jurisdiction, because it's more
It's the central
dependent,
banks. Yeah.
not only that, but it's more dependent on the outside political
Yeah.
situation.
And
So-
like how the market as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So, we can say, okay, well, we're going to reduce prices or increase salaries for government workers, whatever. But, inflation is still out of our hands. It's just, okay, well, it goes down. Yeah, that's our achievement. Yeah, we did that. You vote for us again. But if it goes up, well,
But
we can't
you
really do anything.
can do some things, right?
Yeah, you
That's
can,
it.
but you're
do-
not gonna stop inflation
Yeah, exactly.
tomorrow. And also, a lot of people don't understand this, but you reducing inflation doesn't mean prices go down. It just prices raise at a slower
Lower
rate than
rate.
before.
Yeah.
You need negative inflation,
Yeah.
which is very difficult to achieve for a country.
And plus, it can lead to doom loops,
Yeah.
which are like
exactly.
And what about the housing shortage? We have a very good example here in Malaga.
Yeah, that is true, especially with the Airbnbs and
Yeah.
such, which are taking up properties. But
What would you do about that if you were the
Substitute
Spanish?
family housing. Because what they're doing in
Yeah.
Malaga, right? They're building houses for people who have deep pockets.
yeah,
Right? They're not building it for the every John and Susan walking around. So just substitute or create incentives for people to build average.
yeah, no,
houses.
definitely tax cuts and such. But also the problem with Malaga and especially the Costa del Sol area is that those houses are built there because there is not a lot of real estate for those prices, not a lot of land because, well, okay, you've got the sea here and the mountains here. You've
Yeah.
got a small strip of land and some of it is you can't really build on it because of the terrain. And plus, the weather here. It's beautiful. It attracts people to live here who have retired, British people who have retired.
British
They buy
people.
these large houses. But yeah, definitely tax cuts, maybe government subsidies, and even maybe more long-term approaches, having a program in which the government would buy land for a bit over the average price that it would be sold for.
Like council houses.
Yeah, exactly, but not very much like council housing because we know council housing doesn't exactly have the best reputation. Yeah. It would be more the government buys it up
Yeah.
and then can sell it or give it to investors who can produce a actual property there for a lower price. It's like a
Yeah.
bidding thing, Okay, well, you can build a housing project for, 50 apartments for 50 people.
Yeah.
And you can build it for $1 million. It's, I don't know how much, so
Yeah.
million. And this guy can build it for half as much. Okay, well, we'll give it to you for free for that amount of money.
Yeah.
The government will lose a bit of money on that, but they will be able to cover some of the money they lost from that purchase.
Yeah.
And also from some taxes as well on those condos, for example.
Do you guys think that, I don't know if you know, but in Barcelona, they're banning or restricting Airbnbs?
Yeah, no, definitely in those
Do you
places.
think that would you do that? Do you agree with that? Do you think it's a
Not
great
ban.
idea?
Not ban, definitely
Not
not ban.
ban?
Restrict, because what banning
would
is
cap
gonna
it.
do, what banning is gonna do, and especially in places which is prevalent already, in places like Thailand where they're banned, you'll just have them illegally. They don't care.
Yeah.
But if you limit it, okay, well, there's a limit, and I can cash in on that limit. But if I'm over, I'm gonna think, okay, well, I cannot rent out my property this year, but next year I'm gonna make it. And you don't have that incentive to, okay, well, I'm just gonna do it illegally, just under the rug,
Okay.
And we need serious consequences
Yeah.
for people to do it under the rug.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get a slap on the wrist, then
Okay, moving on to the next one, migration. So where do you guys stand on migration to start off?
I think there should be a cap. As an immigrant, I think there should be a cap. Okay, there's plenty of legitimate arguments let's say, like, plenty of legitimate arguments against a lot of immigrants, but I personally think there should be a cap every year for only X amount of people can come in this year. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with him. And, it is in my belief that the government has a policy on immigration and they have the duty to the people to enforce that policy. And especially when it comes to illegal immigration, which is definitely a problem nowadays in a lot of places, Europe, US, not a lot in Russia or China. They don't get affected by these sort of things. But yeah, definitely I believe that there should be a cap. And also that there shouldn't be because a cap is kind of stupid. Like, it's a good idea, but it's just a part of the solution.
Yeah.
Because you can have 100,000 people max each year. But like 90% of these people are like lowest wage workers who will do nothing in the country, will not pay tax, will not work. They'll just live on the government subsidies that they give. And they won't even like want to integrate because they're already here. But there should be rather a cap and not really a list of requirements, but a list of preferred positions. Like or Australia. Educations. Yeah. Like, for example, hey, we've got this cap, and for example, we've got 25,000 seats reserved for IT specialists, for engineers, for doctors,
for nurses.
Yeah. For jobs that are in high demand. And for example, our country isn't producing enough of them. Yeah. Because, for example, we've got a deficit of nurses. Okay, well, if we can take 25,000 nurses this year, we can kind of solve this. We can fix this. And especially higher educated people are usually going to create less problems. They're not going to be as prone to crime.
They commit less crime and they actually produce more than they take.
But how would you guys differentiate? Yes, thank you. Illegal immigrants to what do you call it? Like refugees.
Well, courts. Not. You can come in legally as a refugee. You can come in illegally. It's not refugee isn't a special moniker that you get, and you're just completely void of any responsibility to follow law.
Yeah. To seek asylum, you need to enter that country.
Yeah, you need to say, hey, my name is John Doe. I want to get asylum here. Yeah. My papers or my lack of papers. I am from X country. I need asylum. You will be processed in due time. Yeah. Like, you can still be an illegal refugee.
And fund the court system.
Yeah.
Because I've heard in the UK, there's people waiting like years to still get processed.
Inefficient systems.
It's like...
it's both, in the UK's case, it's both inefficient and it's just overloaded.
It's overloaded.
Because so many people want to come in. And you just have to be the bad person and just say, no, everybody's off. You got a new list, go. I don't care. Yeah.
What would you do about... immigrants that comes into the country, but then they commits crime. Well, not crime, but
deport. Or labor camps. That's also if they want to stay. It has a bad moniker. Okay, I'm gonna agree. Labor camp is a bit mad for it, but if you want to come and you want to commit crimes, okay, you can commit crimes, but you're not going to go to a posh jail where we, as taxpayers, pay for you to do nothing for 5 years for your entire sentence. You're going to do some prison labor, but it's also not like everywhere. Yeah. Not everywhere. Not every jail has it. But okay, here, go to a prison, but you have to work. And it's in Japan. That's what's happening in Japan. Really? Not like for illegal immigrants, but just the Japanese prison system. They have the jail, and the jail has a factory. You work for 8 hours. You're even like paid. You're not like paid a lot, but you're paid enough for you to have spending money because everything else is provided. And just work. And you produce for the economy what you didn't produce before. And it also gives you, after you leave, which is very important for prisoners, to get them back into society, you've got a job skill. For example, you in the factory or in the production center, you operated machinery. You worked on a line. You have now a specialization in using a forklift or other device. So that is a market skill. You can go and after that you can say, okay, I'm ex-prisoner, which I think shouldn't be as stigmatized. I mean, once you leave the jail, the court system decided, okay, you have served the punishment for your action. You should be equal to everybody else in society.
Exactly.
If it's not like a crime that should be like death or total prison sentence for the rest of your life, but for some reason
if it's what you call like a misdemeanor.
Yeah, if it's like a misdemeanor or like, oh, you served 2 years because you did tax evasion on a complete accident. I mean, like, why is this the same as, for example, murder?
So I have a question. I don't know if you guys are gonna understand because it's proper to France. But in France, there's many immigrants that comes into the country and stays there for like a few months, and they get. I was watching a documentary about it, and there was immigrants saying loudly and very happily that they're in the country for 3 months, that he's getting his finger surgery, and that then he's going back to his country because in France you don't pay for healthcare. So what would you do in that situation if you're the president of France? How would you stop that?
Only French citizens get free healthcare.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But if you have a French citizenship, free healthcare.
You sold me on it. That was a great idea up until you said the healthcare is free. Because if they want to come and they want to do paid healthcare, sure, we'll provide you with everything. We'll give you the best hospital.
Yeah, but you don't.
Pay for it.
Pay.
But if you're just gonna come for the benefits, but you're not gonna bring anything with you to pay, quote unquote, for those benefits, well, absolutely shouldn't be around with that. Because it's unfair to, if I'm French, it's unfair to me as a taxpayer, because that money could have been used on something which I would directly benefit from or coincidentally benefit from. And it's also unfair to the other people in that smaller country where I come from, because they don't have the money to go.
Yeah.
True. How would you fight racism while maintaining border control?
Take the floor.
I don't know. What was the question again?
How would you fight racism while maintaining border control?
I mean, I think they're two separate issues. I think you can maintain border patrol and fight racism. I think these are two different questions, just muddled into one. But I'll answer it. How would I maintain border control? Just enforce the border? Okay, that simple, really. Just make sure nobody can come in. Like if someone comes in illegally, just send them back. Just that's how I would maintain the border. On the issue of racism, just education, really. Just.
What do you think, Peter?
The thing is that this is a very localized and both at the same time unlocalized problem, because you don't see this as much in places like Poland. Because, well, okay, someone from Czechia will emigrate. Well, they're pretty much the same. We're the same guys, We even understand each other's language. But for example, someone from in the US, well, someone from Mexico emigrates. Yeah, they're a bit of a different race.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is a thing which is a problem, but some malactors create it to be a way bigger of a problem than it is. Because you can separate racism from border security.
Exactly.
And in reality, border security doesn't really have a lot to do with racism. I mean, some of the people that you will turn back or arrest for illegally crossing the border will be a different race or different color or different ethnicity. Yeah, absolutely there will be. You will arrest someone from Senegal and Poland because they illegally crossed. But also you will arrest someone from Belarus. I'm looking for non-EU countries who illegally crossed. They're both illegal immigrants. They're both the same variety that were arrested, but the race thing isn't. It's just superficially added by people who want to benefit from saying, well, border control, we have to take it down. It's racist.
No, even it's been people who are on the far end of the right do benefit from mixing those two things together.
Yeah, they also definitely benefit.
They definitely benefit, and but you do see that.
Yeah, because if you really think about it, the political thing isn't a line; it's a horseshoe. Both the extreme left and the extreme right are super close to each other.
But so, do you think that immigration is increasing the levels of racism in the country? Do you think they're linked?
I think just demonizing people is
actions of the ones who immigrate create racism.
For me, it's like this. For example, in the UK, I'm not too sure, but I heard that 70% of crime is committed by, let's say, white people. The rest are committed by non-white people. But when you turn on the news, is it 70% of the time do you see a white person commit a crime? Or is it a person of color?
It also depends on what sort of crime.
That's my next question. Do you think also social media and just media in general makes it more directed?
I think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's just headlines, really, because if you show someone with a different, let's say, skin color or something different about them, people are going to gravitate more to it. So the media has an incentive to push these narratives.
Yeah, no, definitely it will. Social media is used by quote-unquote both sides because it's just so easy to use it to sway people's opinion. And also people usually interact more with the stuff that enrages them more.
Exactly.
And the more you do that, the more you are creating yourself a bubble, which you just will never leave. Because, well, why would you interact with something which completely crosses out your opinion. But, also social media allows us to view everything. So, it's a double-ended sword, but in this case, it's not a sword, it's a double-ended pair of binoculars. It allows us to see the bad and the good.
Good.
And so finally on the migration topic, do you think that refugees should be shared more equally between countries?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to do that because, how much power do you have to tell Ishan's country, hey, we've got 25,000 immigrants. You take half, we take half, well, it's good.
It's good.
It's very difficult to do that. And
It's
especially people will not agree with it. They don't want your problem. They don't want the immigrants to come into their country.
It's only going to work if your countries are really close together.
When you've got a very close relationship.
bond too.
And especially if both countries are mutually dependent in some way on each other.
It also has something to do with the economic factor. Because one country's richer, the other one's, I'm not going to say poor, but not as rich. It kind of feels it shouldn't be 50-50. It should be
Yeah, I mean, we should also definitely, when it comes to immigration is a down the line effect of something else. And we really have to, as a government, look at, okay, why is there so many people from this country? Okay, they've got a war. Can we do something about it? We can do something about it. Let's do that. We can fix the immigration thing by just resolving other issues.
About fixing it,
it's difficult.
When it's talking about the countries with power, most of the times they don't fix it. They make it worse.
Absolutely don't
they don't fix it.
I mean, what they don't want to do is they don't want to overinvest on it. Because in reality, other than we don't have as much immigrants, there is no benefit from it. You will spend money to fix a country, and maybe you'll get some trade out of it. Maybe in 50 years, because they're war-torn, they're destroyed.
Yeah.
Maybe in 100 years, we'll see the benefits from it.
The ROI is very low.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're running a bit late, but I still want to talk about the last main thing, which is human rights. And it's kind of an overall question that I'm going to ask you now. What would you do about human rights? About if your country had bad human rights, what human rights are, everything that's in it. For example, if your country was Saudi Arabia, what would you do? Just is general.
If I was Saudi Arabia,
what are your opinions about human rights? If your country had a bad human rights thing, what would you do?
My opinion, this is a bit controversial. Human rights only apply if you're not a powerful country. Because if you're a powerful country like the US, UK, Saudi Arabia, China, you can break as much human rights as you want, and nobody's gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the case.
It shouldn't, but
that's how the world is.
Unfortunately, that's how it is. It's
I mean, the consumer doesn't care. If it's cheaper to produce my phones in China, but the kids make the phones, I'm still gonna produce them in China. The customer won't care.
And don't you wanna find a solution where you can get your phone for cheaper, but with also human rights?
Yeah, I would absolutely want the solution.
But then what would you do?
The customer will be saying, okay, why is my phone now X amount more hard to buy because it costs more money to produce? Okay, why are my shareholders saying, okay, why didn't we choose this option? We know there's human rights problems, but we can cover it up.
Yeah.
We can just pretend they don't exist. People care about the money, they don't care about the human factor. The human factor isn't even a question.
Everyone is guilty. So it's if for example, me and Peter are countries, and I say, you're breaking human rights.
Yeah, but you're breaking
Yeah,
too.
exactly. I'm doing it. He's doing it. Everyone's
so
doing it.
let's keep silent, and both of us will have
That's
this
how
thing.
powerful countries work. It's you shut up, I shut up.
But then if you apart from all the money kind of side, if there's bad human rights, you would obviously want to make it better.
Morally, yes.
Morally, yeah,
and
then what would
morals
you
don't
do?
rule the world, the money does.
Unfortunately.
Yes, but putting aside the money.
Okay, in the case money didn't exist,
absolutely.
in that situation.
It wasn't the main factor.
Yeah, if it wasn't the main factor,
what would you guys do?
I would definitely call it out.
Yeah.
And if I was a country in influence, I'll definitely call it out and try to stop it. Because we can stop it, right? We have some power. We
can just improve labor regulations. But also this sort of thing isn't exactly sophisticated like China or these sort of countries. It's also, for example, in the US, and the US has a big problem with this because you don't hear about it that much because nobody wants to talk about it. But the illegal immigrants that come in, they do that slave labor. They get their passports taken away by malactors.
In Dubai, it's happening.
Yeah, the same.
Dubai and
imports Indian and Pakistani workers, takes their passport and work on this building.
Yeah.
And this is ties into illegal immigration again. Like, these people have their human rights mistreated.
Yeah.
And, that is something we can resolve. And decreasing the amount of illegal immigration will cut down their amount of people they can recruit. And so we'll fix or slightly fix the human rights problem.
In the case of Dubai and like the Middle East, they're actually coming legally into the country, and then they're
getting
taking
jobs.
away their passports, putting them in Dubai. Actually, I heard in the outskirts.
Yeah,
there's
they're like
this
barracks with like 5 people per meter.
What would you do if you were trying to be the prime minister or president, but that the public opinion strongly opposed you?
Well, is it a democratic country?
Yes.
Do we have a strong military? And do I have the phone call to like the biggest general in the country?
Go to war.
No, to like quit. I mean, depends where we are. But now, if I don't have the public support in Spain, for example, I'm not winning the election. What am I doing?
The thing is, like, if I was currently in office and my public approval is going down, this is age-old tactic. Going to war.
No, not only
It
that.
always works.
The thing with public support as a politician is that it's not 100 to 0. You can't just go 0 and then like one
It's not
decision.
100. Obviously,
No,
it's gonna go.
no, it's the. Let me say. It's 100 to like 50 or 40. Because once you push below that 50, 40, there is no recovery from that. Either you lose the election and maybe try again later, or like your country gets invaded and now you get this magical spell when you can just say, okay, we'll push back the elections. Just let me fix it. I fix the war. I win the war, for example. My approval is 100% now. So, it's very
and
difficult.
my opponents are just disappearing somehow.
They all served on the same frontline unit,
And finally, last question: would you use social media to help you or to promote you?
Obviously.
I mean, like that's the
That's
thing
like
that you have
obvious.
to do. Everybody does it. Like, I mean, not using it is such a disadvantage that it will literally cost your election.
But have you seen like Zach Plansky's social media campaign?
Yeah.
Agree with him or not, they're actually quite good.
Yeah, I mean, like one thing with social media that you have to keep in mind, it's not just like a blanket thing. You can't just have a 60-year-old guy who likes golf running your social media accounts because that's not going to resonate with voters. You need someone young in that to be able to, create hype around you, because young voters are important nowadays. And, if you don't get them to vote on you by being relatable, Jesus Christ, that's a bad word.
Really
but, having a content which resonates with them, well, they're either not going to vote because a lot of younger people choose to not vote because they don't see a point. It's just two parties and they don't care. Or they're going to vote for your opposition who does the exact same thing and they resonate with them now.
I feel like we're at a point where we're like everyone's useless.
Yeah.
Like taking the US, both the Democrats and the Republicans, they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
They're the same. Even when you go to the UK, you have the Tories, Labour, they're the same.
Yeah.
There's no
Especially a lot of radicalization in the youth happens because they realize this makes no sense. These parties are just run by people who want to have a position until they die. Yeah.
And why are politicians so old?
Because
they're like 60-year-olds.
Well, in fact, in France there was the election like maybe 2 years ago, but it wasn't the president election, it was something else.
Prime Minister.
I'm not sure.
Cabinet.
No, I'm not sure. I don't know, but it was quite important elections. And there's this. He's kind of new, and he's young. He's like 27, 30-ish, I think. And he got on social media, and he did basically his whole campaign was on social media.
Like Mamdani.
And it's definitely also cheaper using social media.
And he became like famous on social media, and he became like a trend. He was trending, and so many young people voted for him because they thought it was cool and he was fun to be on social media.
It's definitely also easier to use social media to get to the voters and get to promote the content that they want to see, because you can way easily curate social media than you can curate real life. And worst case, you can just start hiding people, blocking people that say bad things.
Or you can like pay
exactly. Pay bots. Get a bot farm on it.
Is Macron still in power?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been there forever. I don't know.
Yeah, because in France it's 4 years.
4 years.
And then this is his second time doing 4 years.
Yeah, second term.
Second time.
Yeah.
His second?
What do you mean?
Like, is his second term?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times did the government in France collapse in his time? Like,
I don't know.
Have you seen what's been happening with the prime minister? This year we've had like 5 prime minister. One didn't even last 10 hours. He quit before 10 hours.
What was her name? The British one.
What is it? Liz Truss, the cabbage.
Exactly.
What was this one?
Jeez.
Truss, she lasted like 9 days in office.
9 days. So there's this meme, right? Someone put cabbage and see what will last longer, Liz Truss or the cabbage?
Okay.
The cabbage won. Fortunately.
I mean, she did have very
No,
bad
she did
time.
that. No, but the
She
thing
had
is,
bad timing, really, because like Queen dying like right as you begin your thing, like
Damn.
that's good luck at this point.
good luck. No, but the thing is, I feel like she was like a nobody. Like, she had no charisma, nothing.
She was very new to the position, and definitely the Queen is passing. Like that's kind of sealed the deal for her. Because like I mean, if she was in office before that, and she had the confidence of voters, she'd stay. But
like the Tory party, man, the Tories, multi-millionaire morons.
So
I don't know. I have no idea what British politics is about.
It's Indian politics, like the parliament. There's so much drama happening. I love it. Once guy from the opposition came and hugged the current prime minister and just ran off. It was so random. There's also the opposition quoted Gandhi and said it was Jesus.
Wow. So
It's like drama. It's like
well, we're coming to the end of the podcast. I hope you guys had fun. You did?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Peter's smiling. This is the first time I see him smile.
Yeah, the cameras are on.
And see you next week for next week's podcast.
Bye.
Bye.